continues to be part of what you're thinking about in the next couple of months. You might have just received a little notice on your screen there that we're recording this session, so we hope that you can press yes and we can proceed with that recording. And I want to make sure, my name is Jill Byers, I guess I can tell you that. I'm one of the admissions counselors at Ohio State ATI, and we are going to let you meet 5 of our faculty members who are people that you will be working with. These will be your advisors when you come to campus. They'll be great mentors for you. Once you get to say hello to all of them, we thought we'd talk to you a little bit about hands-on learning, our facilities for our different programs, internships, graduate experiences, some jobs that people get, student clubs, activities that they participate in while they are students on our campus. So that's kind of what our agenda is. We'll talk through those things. We'll give you a chance to participate. Hopefully you all have or know how to use the raise your hand button or use the chat if you would like to ask a question. We will, depending how this flows here, we may hold questions till the end, or maybe we can answer them as we see them, just sort of depending what comes up. But hopefully that works for everyone. And I think we'll just proceed then with asking, I'll invite the faculty members to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about who they are. Dr. Laura Dieter, can we start with you?
You did this in alphabetical order, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I figured so. All right. I'm Dr. Dieter. The kids call me Doc D or Doc or Hey You. I am in charge of the landscape horticulture program and the horticultural science program, which is the 2+2 between ATI and the Columbus campus. And I don't know, I teach plant materials, I teach ecology, I teach landscape design, and anything else that I'm told to teach.
Okay. Thanks, Dr. D. How about if we hear from Mrs. Terry Lanker? Terry's in charge of our floral design program. She's also the chair of the Horticultural Technologies Division. I just took half.
There you have it. That's me. I'm Terry Lanker, and I've been at ATI for a long time. I really enjoy teaching floral design and marketing, and really enjoy the students that choose that creative major. I also chair the horticulture division, and so
I don't know if Terry froze for everybody or just for me.
No, for me too.
Okay.
Let me put something in the chat for her. Hang on.
All right. We can
keep calm and carry on, Jill.
Yeah, I was going to say we'll circle back to Terry. Dr. Nangle, how about if we talk with you?
Thanks, Jill. My name is Ed Nangle. I am involved in the turfgrass program. I'm also part of the professional golf management program here at ATI, as well as the equipment manager certificate. I obviously am not coming from Ohio, so I definitely bring a different focus. But anything related to golf and closely working with Dr. Rottenbush on the turfgrass program as well.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Nangle. How about Dr. Zane Rottenbush? Do you want to fill us in on you?
Yeah, my name is Zane Rottenbush. I'm the coordinator for the turfgrass management program, and I'm from north central Pennsylvania, so about 4 hours from here. And I grew up working on golf courses and worked at a lot of golf courses in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and eventually found my way back to graduate school. And ATI has been a perfect place for me. It's where we have this real focus on a hands-on education and small class sizes, and so it's just it's a great place to be. And so I teach a variety of different turfgrass classes, and I conduct research with Dr. Nangle during the summer months and throughout the year. And we're pretty actively involved in our industry, so we're asked to give a lot of talks and presentations with our stakeholders. And so we're glad the semester is winding down and catching our breath, and we're just excited to have opportunity to chat with you all today.
Great, thank you, Zane. And Dr. Samira Kun with our greenhouse program. Uthra, would you like to speak? Whoops, we need to unmute you.
Oh, yes.
There we go.
Okay, so I'm Samira Kun. So I coordinate the greenhouse and nursery management program. And in this program, you have 3 specializations: greenhouse management, nursery management, and greenhouse engineering technology. I teach classes which are mostly related to crop production in the greenhouses, such as plant propagation, growing annuals in the greenhouses, greenhouse environmental control, and so on. And I really enjoy, again, the teaching and the hands-on component of our program. We work with greenhouse industry a lot. So our curriculum changes all the time with the changes in the greenhouse industry. And I also do research, again, working with different greenhouse crops.
Great. Thank you. We don't think that we've got Mrs. Lanker back on the call yet, but we're trying to get reconnected.
I'm texting her right now as we're doing all of this also, and she says it's not letting her back in right now. So I told her to reboot Zoom. Just gonna log out of her browser and get back in. We'll see if that works.
Okay, or dial in if she can do that. If somebody sees her, whistle. Otherwise, I will keep moving forward here. But as we said, or as she said before she froze, Mrs. Lanker is in charge of the Floral Design and Marketing program and has been at ATI for a lot of years and is in charge of the entire horticulture division. So she's got a lot of experience, a lot of industry experience as well in her area. Okay, before we dive into our conversation, we assume you're all pretty curious about how classes will be handled in the fall, if campus will be open like normal, all those things that everybody's wondering about related to our current learning environment or living environment. And we thought we'd just tell you right up front, we don't know the answer to that question yet, but the university expects to have that information by mid-June. So by the time you come to orientation this summer, we should have that information for you. We'll know how things will be proceeding. Okay, sorry we don't have anything more specific than that, but like most of the world, we're all sort of feeling our way through this. How about for those of you on the call who are interested in participating here, how about if you tell us what major you're planning to pursue? Can you jot that in the text box and let us know what your plans might be? Looks like we got.
Welcome back, Terry.
Oh, did we find her?
Thank you. I don't know what happened there. It just went away.
We got greenhouse, turf.
All right. Terry, I had just asked them to tell us what majors they were planning to pursue.
Floral.
If you want to finish your introduction of yourself while they're doing that, you're welcome to.
Sure. I don't know what I said and when I got cut off. It doesn't really matter. You know, I think I was saying, you know, how great it is to work with the people that we have in our division. And we'll be talking about some of our staff we're really proud of later because they're graduates of our program. Sorry, something's floating in front of me here. Yeah, we can move on. Whatever. I don't know where you're at.
Okay. Well, we looks like we've got, I'm trying to think here. I think that's every one of our majors represented except possibly the professional golf management program, but we will make sure people know about that one as well. And I think there are another couple more people on here who just haven't participated in the chat at this point. But let's keep rolling. One aspect that makes ATI distinct is our hands-on learning. And most of the students are doing that in the various facilities we have that are specific to our various majors. By raising your hand, how many of you have actually had a chance to visit our campus and see any of our facilities? Can you guys do the raise your hand feature there? Trying to decide if I can see it actually. Well, we know that visiting campus right now is a little more challenging, obviously, but we do want to make sure to hear about those facilities. So I'll throw it to the faculty. Which one of you wants to talk a little bit about what students are doing on campus in the facilities?
I'll
And
jump.
don't forget to unmute yourself.
We often go alphabetically by major, so floral always ends up first, so I'll go first. On campus, we have a flower shop, and that's really integral to the teaching, and students do practicum experiences in the flower shop almost every semester. So they're getting to learn in the lab and then design for customers and real orders, real situations in the flower shop. As they progress through their program, they advance through different levels of responsibility. So by their last semester, they have a lot of responsibility for managing the other student staff members, for doing all of the visual merchandising in the shop, choosing the merchandise that we sell, planning product promotions and things. So the flower shop is really a great facility for us. Of course, we also benefit from growing flowers on campus in our cutting garden that we can use in the fall and in the late spring. And that's a really nice enhancement. The trend right now in the look in floral design is very much oriented toward garden flowers. So I'll stop there. There's more I could say, but let's hear from others.
Does that make landscape next? That the alphabet is so hard.
I think greenhouse would be alphabetically.
Okay,
but
good.
doesn't
So let's do greenhouse. I'll mute
All right.
myself.
Okay, so we have greenhouses. We have 6 greenhouses, 3 old school greenhouses and 3 brand new greenhouses with state-of-the-art technology. So we do all these greenhouses really well for our teaching programs. So if you think about the industry, we have all these greenhouses which are built at different time periods. So the objective of working in these different greenhouses is for you to see different facilities that are available depending on the time the greenhouses were built. And so our greenhouses, unlike a mini commercial greenhouse, we have flower crop production that takes place just like the commercial greenhouses, spring plant production, and the fall plant production with poinsettias. And the students have the opportunity to do sales, grow them. And also we have hydroponic crop production in one of the greenhouses. That is our latest addition because the greenhouse industry that focuses on produce is expanding right now. So there are lots of different hydroponic systems that is available for you to practice. And for our practicum programs, you get to manage those greenhouses. So that is kind of the last part of the degree. So you manage a greenhouse before you graduate from the program. Okay, I'll also stop just like Terry. There's more I can tell.
I think that brings us to Dr. Dieter.
So I think that would be H, right? Hort science, technically.
Oh, okay.
Which is also me. I just kind of blended all together because I didn't see anybody in the chat saying that they're Hort science. Hort science is really the program if you're interested in the bachelor's degree from Columbus in horticulture. And it's a degree that takes advantage of all of the different areas because of the specializations in Columbus. So if you were interested in turf and wanted to go to Columbus, you would be taking turf classes. If you're interested in greenhouse and want to go to Columbus, you would be taking greenhouse classes. Same thing with landscape. And when it comes to some of the landscape stuff, we use the grounds a lot. We have 100 acre arboretum right next door that we use their grounds quite a bit. We have a fairly new landscape construction building, which a lot of activities happen in there. And it's not just in landscape. If you're taking an irrigation class, a lot of that would happen in there as well. So we take advantage of a lot of different areas within the building. They just redid the landscape design studio. So we have brand new desks in there and new computer systems in there for people to do CAD work. So we get to do a lot of different things in the landscape.
Wonderful. Thanks, Laura. Okay, who's going to go next? I'm not keeping track of the alphabet anymore.
Ed, you're next.
Well, I'm going to take all your fun then. I guess we're a combined operation with the golf and the turf. We do have a golf course, 18-hole golf course that was donated to us in the early 2000s. There's a classroom out there, and that is used and then followed up upon with practical application of the theory right out on the golf course. So that's Hawk's Nest. We also have a putting green on campus, and a sports field with baseball diamond as well, to allow for a broad range of the practical applications, which do vary between sports turf and golf course. So we definitely get to utilize that. The other component that was pretty unique is tied to the equipment manager certificate. We have specific pieces of equipment and classes that are pretty unique nationally that we are able to teach at on campus. So we've been able to manage that and bring a lot of value to students in the turfgrass, PGM, and equipment manager programs with that.
Thank you, Dr. Nangle. Zane, do you want to add anything?
I just, I'd like to just echo what everybody has said, that for those that are listening is, I've been here now, this will be starting my 4th year. I've really come to realize that we have a special place and we have unique facilities, and it just allows us to facilitate a type of teaching that I believe just really cannot be replicated. And I think if you would ask all of us, we have seen a type of teaching with experiential learning that is effective and it works and it prepares our students for successful careers. And so, in terms of the turf, we obviously have some unique things, but I would just say across all of our disciplines within our division, those facilities really are what allow us to do the type of teaching that I really believe cannot be replicated other places. So I'm gonna pat ourselves on the back a little bit there, Jill, and shameless plug.
There you go. Another thing we're pretty shameless about is the fact that we're proud of the internships that our students head out to do often in the summer. The students in the Associate of Applied Science program are typically starting some internships at this time of year. Do some of you want to chat about where students have done internships and what their experiences and responsibilities have been?
I can jump in on that. I have had students in landscape. Traditionally, they go to landscape companies, but they've gone to golf courses, and they've gone to garden centers, and they've gone to places like Cedar Point and all kinds of different places. They've gone from very large, nationally known companies like Davy Tree down to very small local, what we call mom and pop operations, where they may be working directly with the owner, and it's the owner and an intern. They're doing everything from construction to maintenance to installs to pruning to, you name it, within the landscape industry. They're out there doing it.
Thanks. Anybody else want to talk about internships for a quick second?
Yeah, it's funny, I had my roster pulled up with where some of our students are going this semester. So we see in the turfgrass management area that our students typically fall into 1 to 3 areas, either moving to work on a golf course. To Dr. Dieter's point, we're interested in operating some type of landscape or lawn care business. And so they go work for one of those areas, or they get into the sports turf area with NFL, MLB, MLS. And so this summer we have students, we had some students going into the professional sports world, but that's a big question mark right now. We had students going to the Philadelphia Eagles, the Columbus Clippers. We have students at Oakmont Country Club, Muirfield Village in Columbus. We have a student who's up in Wisconsin at Sand Hills, a recently built brand new golf course. You have 2 students working for a really nice landscape company that Dr. Dieter helped set up. So they're kind of all over the place, and but they all are going to some really top-notch places, the highest level that it's done in our industry. So they're going to get pretty phenomenal experiences.
Wonderful. Mrs. Lanker?
I have students that started internships last week for this summer, just in the nick of time to contribute to a really busy Mother's Day weekend. So there's a lot of flower shops that are open and operating, and Mother's Day is one of the biggest holidays in the floral industry. And as a business for procrastinators, where you can call day of and have your gift delivered to mother's doorstep, it's a very busy time. So the students that have just started these internships have really gotten a very quick orientation to what the business can be like. But over the years, we've had students in a lot of different interesting and varied kinds of positions. Some of those are very much the mom and pop types of operations that Dr. Dieter is referring to. And certainly a lot of our students aspire to own their own business someday. So those are really good internship experiences for them to see what is it like owning a business like that and operating. But some of our students have done other things that have included jobs in places like the Walt Disney World Florist, which is a massive operation with over 100 floral designers on a daily basis. And we've had a number of students that have worked in the supermarket floristry business, which is kind of a parallel to the traditional retail florist business operation. Those have been really good jobs for students and a lot of opportunity to advance quickly into management and even regional management of several stores. So I've got some really good examples of students who have done that, including one of our own staff members who started out in a supermarket operation and became the manager and eventually came back and became our employee. So she manages our campus flower shop now. I'll pass it to Utra.
Okay, so in greenhouse, we have a different schedule for the internship. So most of our students go on the internship halfway through the semester. That is because if you think about the garden centers now, they are very full. They are full of plants. They are full of bedding plants. However, if the greenhouse industry doesn't work throughout the winter and spring, you won't see those flowers in the garden centers. So the greenhouse industry is busiest during the springtime, so which is why most of our students go and do the internship halfway through the spring semester. The students work in both large-scale greenhouses as well as medium-scale greenhouses. Ohio is really good in terms of the greenhouse industry. So we are the 5th largest in the nation for flower crop production and also for vegetable crop production. Now it is around 3rd or 4th position in US. So you do have so many opportunities in Ohio itself because it's a major state for greenhouse industry, but there are also opportunities outside. So the students in the program take those out-of-state internships, in-state internships, but also sometimes students also take the opportunity to do the international internships. So they would like to go to a different country and take an internship opportunity. So all these opportunities are available with it's the ornamental industry or vegetable production industry, small scale or medium scale. And there's no shortage of internship opportunities at this point in time.
Wonderful, thank you.
Jill, one thing that we need to add here is, and this applies to all of our programs, Ohio State has a pretty unique international program. And so we have students who have capabilities to go basically anywhere in the world, whether it's tied to golf courses, sports turf, flower arranging, or the greenhouses. I know Uttara had a student who was looking at potentially going to the Netherlands this summer. I know last year we had students who went to Canada, Ireland, and I can't remember where the third place was now that I was saying that. But we've also got a student who's going to New Zealand in the fall. And nationally, the industry, as well as internationally, recognizes Ohio State's excellence. So it really is unique. And that program, as far as students getting the experience overseas, is utilized by universities all over the Midwest and the US because they don't have quite the same capabilities or understanding and network that we have at Ohio State. So another unique component that is definitely available to all of our students.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Jill, real quick, I'd just like to add on this conversation that, and I don't know if my colleagues would agree here, but there's a lot of tough decisions to make about what's going on at school, but I really believe the internship and where you do it is arguably one of the most important decisions that our students will make. I have seen that it transforms people. I don't know how else to say it. For a lot of our students, they come back with able to handle more responsibility, more energized about what we're teaching them. For many, it just reaffirms why they chose this major, and it's like they're all in. And for the students listening or the parents, I would just encourage you to take that decision seriously and to lean on us, because we have contacts everywhere. We know from experience where some of our students do to traditionally receive these really good internships. It doesn't mean that you can't go to other places. It's just that we kind of have this library of people who we have rapport with, where we know our students receive this really quality experience. And it is just a springboard for their careers. And many of our students get gobbled up by these people who they did their internships on. And so I think that's something I really like about our programs, is that especially in our associate of applied science programs and even associate of science, these students can go out and do an internship after their first year of school, not towards the end of a 4-year degree. It's immediate. And so it just energizes a lot of our students. I don't know if any of my colleagues would echo or have anything to add to that, but that's my observation.
Sounds like your colleagues agree. And related to that topic is the concept of the job after they get their degree. ATI has a strong job placement rate. Some students get multiple job offers, as I know some of you can speak to. Do you want to talk about what kinds of jobs students have? I guess some of you have chatted about that a little bit, but is there anything else you want to contribute regarding the kinds of jobs, where they're getting them, what those experiences are like? Some students I know move back home to home businesses. Take it from there, one of you, and talk about that aspect of ATI's success.
I know that within the landscape industry, there are roughly 800 students at ATI total. I could put every one of them into the landscape industry right now. So all you other careers, you can't have any students. I get them all. They're just it's a huge labor shortage in the landscape industry right now, and a lot of horticulture is experiencing that exact same thing. So the students who are not finding jobs are not looking. There's not a lot I can do about that. But yes, most of them will have the equivalent of 3 or 4 or more job offers upon leaving, including usually where they went and did their internship. But I would also say that the vast majority of our landscape students want to own their own company someday. And so we have all of these companies looking for interns, and most of these students are entrepreneurial type students. They want to own their own business.
And I think some already do, according to what I read on the trucks, on the sides of some of the trucks in the parking lot.
Yeah, a good portion of them start, they started mowing lawns when they were 10 or 12 years old, and their business has grown, and it's grown to the point where they can add stuff onto their trucks when they come to school here.
Yep. Mrs. Lanker?
With Laura, there are a lot of jobs available in the floral industry also, maybe not 800 of them, but but we get a lot of contacts from employers looking for graduates because they know they're going to bring professionalism. And in the floral industry, flower shops really almost hate to advertise when they need a floral designer, because people come out of the woodwork claiming to be. Anybody who has tinkered with flowers on their own and popped them into vases calls themselves a floral designer, and florists are inundated with applicants who really aren't floral designers but are calling themselves that. They don't have the time to train these people to become floral designers, and it does take time to develop an artistic eye and to be able to put those flowers in arrangement and every time produce a quality, saleable, finished product. So employers are looking for our graduates. A lot of those are traditional flower shops, but there's all kinds of interesting opportunities that come along if you're paying attention, if you have, really done your part to learn the work and develop the skill, then those opportunities are going to be available. I'll give you an example, and I think we have highlighted this graduate on the website, but Marie Arnold graduated in both the Floral Design and Marketing and the Greenhouse program. So she was a dual major, and she worked for a time in a traditional flower shop in Columbus. In fact, she did her internship in the largest flower shop in the state of Ohio. And then she went and worked for an event florist in Columbus, and that led to her being hired as the event manager at the Biltmore Estate in Asheville, North Carolina. And so it's a really exciting opportunity. And as a young designer, she had the responsibility for managing a team of floral designers that had been on staff there for over 20 years. And so it was just a really interesting time for her to step into that role and be showing these people that have been doing this for a very long time how to do it even better and step it up and really expand the wedding and event work that they do there at the Biltmore. So there's one really cool example of where our graduates have ended up.
Wonderful. Thank you, Terry. Others of you want to speak to some graduate experiences? Anything else anybody want to share? Anybody wants to share?
I can talk a little bit about the greenhouse program too. So in the greenhouse program, I think I talked about that we have different specializations. So a student who is graduating from the greenhouse management or nursery management program, those students are going to more of a job that involves taking care of plants or managing a greenhouse. So the most common positions that are available are growers, assistant growers, and greenhouse managers. That depends on the scale of the greenhouse. In a large scale commercial greenhouse, you will be assistant grower first before you go into other job positions. Although if you think about the engineering technology program, most commonly available job is greenhouse technicians. So those people are not working with the plants, but works with the equipment and maintenance of the greenhouse structures. So what I have seen is that, yes, the students are going to the greenhouse industry. There are so many jobs, again, available, a job shortage area. There are other students who would not want to work in a commercial nursery. Still, there are part of the students who are going into public horticulture, work in the botanical gardens, managing conservatories and things like that. We also have students going to sales, doing sales of horticultural products, because some of the companies now would like to have horticulture graduates as compared to business graduates, because they know about what they are selling and how they are being used in the industry. So that is kind of like the different areas. We have students who are starting their own greenhouse businesses. In fact, most of the students coming into the program say that is what they want to do. Some students go and work in the industry and then start their greenhouses. However, I had two students graduated last year who started their own greenhouses right on the go. And these students, one of these students has been very successful, and he has started selling his products this semester. And there were so many pictures, and I also uploaded that to our Twitter account. So he's doing a really successful business, just starting in the first year.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I can add a little to this conversation. I was trying to jot down some names of our recent graduates and where they're at. And just looking at that list, you know, it's pretty common, but I would say in the past 3 years, probably 40% of our graduates are going back to full-time positions at the places that they conducted their internships at. And so, you know, these internship hosts see that they see the talent in these individuals and want to gobble them up, and they're getting great salaries. So just as everyone else has echoed, the turfgrass industry is experiencing a major talent drought as well. Dr. Nangle and I are just hammered all the time with people looking for graduates. And so the the demand is much greater than the supply right now. And so we have students who, we have a student who graduated. He's an agronomist at Muirfield Village in Columbus. We have a student who graduated, conducted a post-graduation internship with the Reds, then was hired full-time working for the Cincinnati Reds. We have a student who did his internship last summer at Oakmont Country Club. He's going back there to be a full-time agronomist. We had a student who conducted his internship at Laurel Valley Country Club in Ligonier, Pennsylvania. He's back there as an assistant superintendent. And then the last one is a student who is dual majoring in turf grass management and then our turf equipment manager certificate. And so the turf equipment manager certificate is a program that Dr. Nangle is the coordinator of, where we teach individuals, we provide them with training to actually provide the maintenance and service on some of the specialized equipment that we use. And so this individual came into our program interested in turf and landscape, and as he got his hands into some of the equipment, decided to tack on the turf equipment manager certificate. And last summer he went and did his internship working on the equipment at Medina Country Club, where they have several courses, state-of-the-art facilities. Came back here, finished his schooling, and Dr. Nangle will tell you, perhaps one of the most highly sought after graduates that we had, a lot of job offers, and he took an assistant equipment manager's position at Laurel Valley Country Club, where he will be the head equipment manager next year. So there's just a lot of opportunity to move and shake if that's what you are so inclined to do. Ed, do you have anything to kind of add on to that?
I think that would be probably the more traditional course that a lot of turfgrass students would take, but it's an industry that you can never end up where, or never know where you're going to end up. So I will say that, you know, on the, let's say, longer term career path, we have a recent graduate, not a recent graduate, but a recent hire at Baltusrol in New Jersey. That's one of the top, I would say, top 20 courses in the country. And there's a range of people at that level around the country from ATI. We also have people who are national sales directors in a range of situations, whether it's in turfgrass seed, turfgrass sod type situations, and also construction. Golf course construction is a place that's a pretty unique type of situation, but there are people with particularly now with the PGA Tour, that have ATI background, where they have ended up as the director of golf course construction. The one other thing I would also take into account is that some of our turfgrass students have ended up going on to graduate school. And the actual John Steyer is, I'm going to say, the dean of the Ag College at the University of Tennessee. He's an ATI graduate in the turf in turf. So it's one of these programs that really does offer a lot of opportunities to do a range of different things.
And oops, did anybody else want to jump in on that before my next topic then, speaking of students getting to do a lot of different things, most of the students participate in various clubs while they are on campus. And many of you are leaders or advisors to those student organizations. Do you want to chat a little bit about what the students do in terms of their social and competitive and fundraising activities and so on?
I can jump on.
Okay, go ahead, Zane.
All right, I'll break the cycle, Laura. So the Turf Club is an entity that our students participate in, where we have the cabinet of president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and it has a couple primary functions. The biggest function is just to be a social place where the first year and second year students can get together and we go bowling, or they play softball, intramural sports. That's one major focus. Another major focus is, that you alluded to, competing in our competition. So that we travel to two main competitions, to the Golf Course Superintendents Association National Show, the Golf Industry Show, which travels to some really nice warm areas during the winter months, and our students compete in a collegiate skills competition where there's teams of 4 and they compete against schools from all over the country. I think there was over 80 teams of 4-person teams this year that competed. And then we also go to the Sports Turf Managers Association annual conference, where they compete in a similar skills competition. So part of the club is getting that organized and deciding who wants to go. And we bring in guest speakers, people from industry, to come in and talk about all kinds of stuff. We have people, some of it's agronomics. We've had people talk about just how to be professional, how to manage your finances as a young adult, and et cetera. So it's a little bit more of the informal setting for the students where at least I know Dr. Nangle and I have really tried to have them be the leaders and to steer that ship versus it. Really want them to take ownership in it being their club and not our club. So that's something fun. Pretty much almost all of the students participate in. It's a little easier for the students that live on campus to participate in, but even our commuters stick around and have pizza and do whatever. So I don't know if Dr. Lenker would have, or Terry would have anything to add to that.
Well, first of all, I did not realize that your turf club goes bowling, because our floral group does also, and we could kind of combine that, and that could be a lot of fun.
We should definitely. We're not any good.
Neither are we. I think I did the worst this year.
Landscape Club goes bowling also, and I will just say that my bowling scores are more like really good golf scores.
Ditto.
Awesome. Well, we actually have two student organizations in the floral area, and one is more of just a club that everyone can join, Artistes de Fleur. And then under that umbrella is the student chapter of the American Institute of Floral Designers, which is a national organization, and students have to qualify for membership based on academics and also floral design accomplishments. They do some local competitions that qualify them for membership, and then they go through the membership application process. And once they become a national member of SAIFD, the acronym for it, then they are eligible to attend the national competition that rotates around the country. Anywhere from last year in Las Vegas, Chicago, Washington, DC, Seattle, Orlando. Those are some of the most common sites where it's held. So we take a team every year for that. And of course, we do a lot of fundraisings to earn the monies to get us to those places. So we have flower sales for Sweetest Day in the fall, Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, sometimes Easter, depending on when that falls, because that round in the spring. And we have reinstituted our famous bake sales that we've always been known for. And we had a good one this spring that generated a lot of good funding. The group has also done some nice community service projects. So this year, one of the things they did, they partnered actually with the Greenhouse Club to do some on-campus service and take care of cleaning up some of the flower beds at the end of the season in the fall. And then the students actually harvested a lot of what was still blooming and designed flower arrangements from those flowers and delivered those to nursing homes. So that was a nice community service project. So we always try to incorporate something for the community, some fundraising, and just some fun social interactions.
Cool. And I know the Greenhouse Club was involved with a special activity this year that was a kind of a service project as well, right?
Yeah, so the Greenhouse Club, again, just quite similar activities that we have already been listened to. So some of the things I'll add to that is that one of the key things the Greenhouse Club does is cacti and succulent sales. So that is their thing that they do. So they get lots of experience of running a small business, how to do some creative work with the display of things for the plant sales. So they run a couple of sales throughout the year. So that's how the club earns money. So in addition to that, just like Jill said, there's lots of community service activities going on. One of the biggest events that we organized this year is the event for homeschool students to showcase our greenhouses and also to have some activities like planting some pots and also just doing some hydroponic work and harvesting some of the hydroponic produce that we had in our greenhouses, just for these students to get exposed to new methods of growing crops. So it's a very effective activity and we enjoyed doing that. And just the same way, the club also does similar kind of activities for the campus community, the other students, and so on. Again, whatever they earn, they use it to go on different field visits. So we do field visits in our programs. However, it's difficult to do, go to other states and see some of the things that takes a couple of days. So one of the ways that the club uses the money that they earn is to see these new greenhouse operations in faraway places. I think, yeah, that's kind of what we do with the club.
All right, thank you. Any other club activities that we wanted to, Dr. Dieter, did you have other, I can't remember if you got a chance to talk on this.
You know, my dogs are going crazy in the background, so who knows if you're going to hear me or them. Yeah, I echo what everybody else has been saying. You know, we have landscape competitions, and it travels around the country every year. So we've been to, you know, Colorado State, and we went to Cal Poly one year, and we've been to Missouri and South Carolina, and one year was even in Columbus. So, you know, it travels around with the landscape with that, and they do fundraisers. And this year they built some garden trellises that are waiting now to have some face-to-face contact for us to sell. But they are really great, amazing horticulture staff who's a graduate. He designed this thing. He came up with the plans, and he organized all the students to build them. And so they got to build these wooden trellises, and they turned out really well. So I have been on Greenhouse Club field trips before, and they've done some fun things. So it's always good to be able to take students in an activity that is sort of peripherally related to the academic side, which is always a good thing to do.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about what students do inside the classroom, outside the classroom, socially, academically. Those are all obviously things that make Ohio State ATI a different and very special place for us and for the students who are enrolled there. So while we're kind of summing up here, is there anything else any of you would want to add about what makes ATI different or special, or any other final comments before we let them ask their questions?
That's an easy one for me. I would say that, you know, we are a small campus and we really get to know our students. They get to know us, we get to know them. It's a personal experience. And one example that I can share is one of our outstanding students this year, Shelby Helm, who's just graduated. She got engaged in the fall. And so we all heard about that in class right away after it happened. And I happened to be teaching the Flowers for Celebrations class at the time that she was in. And that class is all about designing flowers for weddings and special events. So all through that course, we were hearing about how her wedding plans were unfolding, and we were helping her figure out how flowers fit in and what colors she should have and what flower types. And then through the spring semester, it just continued with other aspects of the wedding that we got to hear the details about. And now her wedding is coming up in September, and I almost feel cut off from all of the details because it became so much a part of just our regular, you know, during lab, there's lots of time for just casual conversation, and she would share a lot of things with us, and everybody was always excited to contribute to that. So it's just one small example of the personal nature of the classroom instruction and the relationships that we form with our students.
I'd like to add to that, you know, our teaching doesn't happen in a vacuum, and it takes other people. And we're really fortunate in our division that we have 4 staff members who worked in the areas of floriculture, landscape, turf grass management, and the greenhouse industry. And these are relatively recent graduates who are out in the industry and did it at some of the highest levels possible. And they have came back and they work in our department and assist with the teaching. And so it just creates this really rich environment where we have us as instructors, you have staff members who were literally just came out of the industry, have their thumb on the pulse of that. And it just makes for this really neat dynamic between the students and us and our staff members. And so that's something that can't be replicated. And then I think too that my colleagues who are here with me today, something that I always like to point out that's unique about our campus is we are teachers. That is our primary focus. We are not, you know, research is not our primary focus. It's all about teaching and knowing our students. And as such, you know, that's what our expertise is in, and we watch after them. And you know, all of our programs are relatively small. We don't have hundreds of students in our programs. You know, they're 20 to 30 students. And so we get to know everybody really, really well. And that intimacy, I just think, makes for a really rich environment for our students. And there's just a lot of great stuff happening. And I couldn't let that opportunity pass, Jill.
I'm glad you didn't. I'm trying to make sure I don't cut off anybody else's remarks. If you have something else you want to add about what makes ATI a special place or different from others. I do want to mention that we are right next door to OARDC, the Ohio Agricultural Research and Development Center, which gives us an opportunity for students to sometimes do some internship work or to help with research is what I'm trying to say, not necessarily internships. I think, Dr. Samira Kun, you have students who have done, not that others of you haven't, but don't you have somebody who's done some fun stuff at OARDC?
Yeah, it's one of the main places for students to find jobs. So if you are interested in working while on campus, so the OARDC location is a great, you have great opportunities because there's a number of research programs going on. So at least about 5 of my students every year works in the greenhouses at OARDC. And in addition, of course, when I have a research program, I always make sure to give opportunities for the students to work in the research project. So that way they get some more additional experience in working with these crops. It could be hydroponic systems. It could be collecting data. So these are additional experiences that are available for them. And there are students who has taken it really well, and they have even presented at conferences and things like that with that experience.
All right, thank you. And Laura, may I ask you to speak to the great outdoors and some of the facilities I know you utilize that just happen to be next door to our campus or part of our campus?
Well, we mostly utilize Seacrest Arboretum because their tree collection is pretty phenomenal, and it's really hard to match that just about any place else. We've had students working over there. We've had students volunteering over there. We've had, you know, we utilize OARDC grounds as well for plant identification. We walk them over that way for final exams sometimes. And people always go, oh, I didn't even realize I should be walking over here. And, you know, there's all kinds of cool things back in there. I've done scavenger hunts in there. But one of the cool things that's happening in the next year or so is that the landscape design students did a design project for the back of the ATI gardens. And hopefully this year, the landscape construction students will be able to start the install on that project. So again, you know, and if you come to visit us and you walk around the campus, what you'll see is all of these hardscaping projects that have happened over the years. And some of them are obviously many, many, many years old, but those have pretty much been installed by students over the years. And some of them were also designed by students and, you know, built by construction students and things like that. So, you know, we try to keep us involved on the campus because it's really cool to be able to say, you know, come back in 10 or 15 years with your own children and say, I built that.
Yeah.
One thing that Laura, you're forgetting to add, Laura lives by the rule that there's no such thing as bad weather. So do be aware that if you're coming to any of these programs, you may need to bring some wet gear.
At some point, we will come back from a walk in the Arboretum looking like drowned rats and smelling like wet dogs.
And one other detail that I want to make sure we mention as we summarize here is that you students do also graduate with a degree that is known and recognized worldwide, right? You can wear an Ohio State shirt almost anywhere and somebody will yell OH at you, sounds like. Okay, how about if, unless anybody has, any of you have something else you want to add, I'm about to invite questions from the audience. Do any of you prospective students or parents have questions about things that we didn't get answered? You are welcome to either jot it in the chat box or unmute yourself and talk directly to us. This is the suspenseful part to see what, what people have. Is the orientation this summer virtual? Is one of the questions that we've had. And yes, it has, the orientation activities will be virtual, they will be online, and you'll be getting all the students when you get, depending where you are in your admission cycle, you will eventually get details about how that online experience will work. Other questions? I feel like we need to play that music, that waiting music, to make sure as people are typing that we give them enough time.
Yeah, let's keep it awkward and nice and silent, Jill.
You just wanted me to shut up for a minute, Ed.
I didn't say that, Jill.
Well, I do want to mention that depending where students are in their cycle here, we've got a couple people that apparently are in the application stages. So we need to get all your documents in and get your admission decision made. And then eventually we'll hope that you pay your acceptance fee and are ready to proceed with things like scheduling your orientation date, getting your housing contract done, doing placement testing, things that are part of that calendar of activities that happen between now and when classes begin. Someone has written, how do we sign up for WorkStudy, which would be a job on campus? I guess I can go ahead and answer that. There will be an opportunity, it's probably a little bit early for some of the jobs or more of the jobs to be posted. But if you are eligible for a work-study job, or if you are interested in student employment, which is another variation on a job on campus, those jobs are posted on a job board that you can access off of ATI's financial aid web pages. So I think, I mean, you're very welcome to go there now and look at the jobs that are posted, but I think more jobs will likely be posted as the activities close up for spring semester and then move toward summer and fall. Does that help, Jay?
I think sometimes students have trouble finding where those jobs are, and isn't it Money Matters, I believe is what you look for? Money Matters.
Yes.
May not seem like the place to be looking for a job. So on the financial aid part of the website under Money Matters.
Yeah. Thank you, Terry. Other questions from anyone? Or other final comments that any of the presenters want to share? Well, let me mention that we are very willing to meet with you individually, virtually. If you need to have additional details, another conversation prior to, in the process of making your enrollment, your admission decision, your plan for where you want to go to school. If you need to talk with us about more of those details, you're welcome to email us at atiadmissions@osu.edu. And we can set up an appointment with a faculty member. You can talk with one of us in admissions, just depending what kind of information you need. You will get to, as an admitted student, meet with these faculty members when you come to orientation. So your actual curriculum questions and what will you take and when will classes, you know, what time is this class or that class, those kinds of questions we'll take care of this summer during orientation. But if you need to talk to any of us to help make that college decision, please know that we're still available, even if it's virtually. But we are here for you. My colleague Liz has posted the link to learn more about jobs on campus in the chat. So that is there if you want to make that connection. But I would encourage you to also keep checking throughout the summer for other jobs that will be posted. And Liz, if you've got, if you're still with me there, if you want to write down that ATI admissions email address, that will maybe help too to get that on the log. Other questions from anyone? Well, we certainly thank you all for coming, giving us a chunk of your afternoon here to talk about one of the places that we are all very fond of and very proud of, and hope that you will come join us and be a proud graduate eventually as well. Thanks, everyone. Thanks to my colleagues from Ohio State ATI.
Thanks for putting it together, Jill.
Hey,
Thank you.
thanks everybody. Thanks everybody
Thanks,
for
Jill.
visiting.